What if I told you you could jump higher just by watching movies? Well, in today's video, I'm going to break down some of the best vertical leap tips that I've gotten from watching movies. What's going on, everybody? My name is Jonathan Clark, aka JClarkTheJUMPER, and this is your first time on the channel. Welcome. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe, check out my other videos. I talk about jumping, dunking, fitness, and share some of my dunk training and just all around dunks. So I have been passionate about jumping for a long time, and I'm one of those people that, I find jumping in everything, even in watching movies. And today I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite movies where I have gotten advice, tips that I can apply to jump training. All right, I'm going to start out with honorable mention. I have two honorable mention movies. The first one is Peaceful Warrior. Now, I've talked about that in a previous video about pre-workout and how I kind of prepare for training sessions. One of the big messages in Peaceful Warrior is kind of live in the moment, focus on the now. And the next video, or the next movie, is Jurassic Park 3. And I had a whole video where I broke down a quote where Dr. Alan Grant talks about the difference between astronomers and astronauts. So kind of, researching about it and being about it. So those are my two honorable mention films. And we're going to get into, keep with the same trend with Jurassic Park 3. We're going to go into Jurassic Park 2. Now, the reason why I picked Jurassic Park 2, there's a special scene when they are on the island and they're capturing dinosaurs, and one of the scientists is breaking down, explaining the power of this dinosaur, and he was saying how when the head lines up, it creates a force, and like right then and there, the dinosaur runs through the door, knocks the man out of the car, and I thought, oh man, that was crazy. One of the big things that I get from that is this concept of vertical stacking. When you are going in for a jump, when you're planting down on your foot, you want to make sure that your joints are aligned and they're stacked. So your ankle, your knee, and your hip. And when you have that, you can get a more forceful, a more powerful punch into the ground. When I talk to my students, I use an analogy of a fist or a punch, right? So if I were to bend my wrist up or down and try to punch somebody, what would happen? This would give some serious injury on my end for throwing the punch, as opposed to it being lined up and being able to apply that force in a forceful way. So vertical stacking, Jurassic Park 2, you want to make sure that the joints are stacked and you're keeping everything aligned. Next, we have The Matrix. Now, you can choose a lot of different things from The Matrix. There's a lot of great quotes, one-hitters, things like that. The big idea that I want to get from The Matrix is free your mind, and not so much kind of the same way. You can use it as the same way you used it in Peaceful Warrior. But one thing that I take from the free your mind scene where Morpheus is teaching Neo how to make the jump is more, no doubt, no disbelief. When you're approaching a jump, it needs to be smooth, it needs to be effortless. You can't think about it, you can't stutter, because if you're stuttering, your steps are off. If you're thinking about your steps, it doesn't work the same way as if it's smooth. You go after it, you're being aggressive. So when you watch Morpheus make the jump, there's no hesitation. He runs, he jumps. When you watch Neo make the jump, he's kind of, overthinking it for a second. He hesitates, and you see the result of that. So when you're going for your jumps, make sure that you're not hesitating, you're being smooth, free your mind. The next movie is not as popular. At least I think most people haven't heard of it. The next movie that I want to share is Gattaca. Now, Gattaca is a great film that I would watch. I recommend all of you guys watching that anyway. One of my favorite movies. It's about this guy who wants to become an astronaut, and they live in a society where everything that you do is determined by your genetics, and he is genetically predispositioned to not be in the best the top tier of performing. So he's really not in they don't want him to be an astronaut. But he finds a way to do it, and through some craftiness, he's able to become an astronaut. And there's an incident right before he's supposed to go to, I think it's Jupiter's moon. There was a murder, and it's a murder mystery. But one of the big concepts that I get from this movie is that genetics do affect who you are, but they don't have to determine or limit where you go. Similarly in jumping, I'm not gonna lie to you and say genetics don't have a play in your ability to jump, but it doesn't have to be the end all be all if that's something you want to do. And I plan on doing a whole video on genetics of jumping. I always start that video and something happens, and I'm gonna sit down and knock it out very soon. So look out for the genetics of jumping. But the big takeaway from Gattaca is your genetics do have a play, but they don't have to determine. It's not, it's not the hand you're dealt, it's the cards. No, it's not the cards you're dealt, it's how you play them. And the last one is 300. Not just because it is one of the coolest movies out, not because it gets you super fired up. One of the scenes where Leonidas is talking to one of the Arcadian soldiers, and he was questioning Leonidas's alliance to this, going to war, and saying you only brought 300 soldiers. And Leonidas, goes and he's asking the Arcadians, what is your profession? And I'm a potter. What is yours? I'm a blacksmith. And he goes with the the iconic Spartans. What is your profession? How? Right? So they're all hyped up, and he turns to the Arcadian guy and is like, "See, I brought more soldiers than you." And the big takeaway with that one is jumping needs to be a lifestyle. Whatever you're doing, whatever you want to aspire to become, you have to make it a part of your lifestyle. I see too many people that ask me about vertical leap training, and they want a program, a plan to do one time, and you have it forever, and that's it. I wish it would work that way. It doesn't, unfortunately. In order to be a jumper, in order to be a true jumper, in order to be a true dunker, it needs to be a part of your lifestyle. If you're serious about jumping high, it needs to be ingrained in the fabric of who you are. It can't just be something that you do. Video games is something that I do. I am not a professional gamer by any means. I'm not gonna go to just casually walk into a tournament and win the big tournament compared to somebody who sits on a PlayStation or an Xbox all day and works at their craft. Now, if that same person were to meet me in a dunk contest, I would hope that I have the same advantage over them because it's something that I do daily and it's something that I work on daily. It can't just be something that you do, it needs to be something that you are. And that's kind of one of the big things that Leonidas was kind of inferring when he said he brought more soldiers. Even though he didn't bring as many bodies, they are more dedicated into what they do and how they do it compared to the people that were soldiers on the side. You can't be a jumper on the side. You have to either be a jumper or not if you want to get to that elite level. Now, if you're trying to, just do a couple dunks for the girlies or whatever the case may be, that's your prerogative, no judgment. But if you tell me you want to be a serious jumper, it needs to be a part of your lifestyle. If you want to be a serious anything, it needs to be a part of your lifestyle. It can't be something that you casually do. Even referring to that within training, you need to prioritize training. So maybe sitting on the couch watching YouTube videos might not be the best thing to do. Watching Netflix might not be the best thing to do. Maybe you're on the floor, you're getting some core work, you're working on your mobility, doing something to get better at your craft. So what I'll do now is I'm gonna go ahead and end the video. Hope this video gave you some advice, gave you some tips that you can use to be a better jumper. Let's turn this off and let's get to work. Alright, thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you guys like and subscribe the video. If you feel duped in watching this video in the sense of feeling that you were clickbaited, that is never my intention. Just really trying to play into YouTube's algorithms to get more views. Hopefully this is an impactful video that can help you with your jumping. If it wasn't, please give me a thumbs down so I know not to do it again. But if it was super helpful and you like this style of video, give it a thumbs up, put a comment below. I would really appreciate that. Make sure you guys check out the Do the Impossible merch. I truly believe you can do anything. Nothing is impossible if you believe. Follow me on the socials at JClarkTheJUMPER. That's all I got for you guys today. Take care.